Hi pupils and welcome to the channel Tanya's Polyglot. In today's lesson we are going to learn how to make questions with the expression how often. If you want to know how to make questions with this expression, please stay.
Welcome to Language Adventure with Tanya. Imagine exploring the world through its languages. Picture yourself strolling past the Eiffel Tower, diving into the rich history of Germany, or savoring the vibrant culture of Spain. Each language opens a door to new experiences, friendships, and understanding. Whether you're mastering English, dancing to Korean rhythms, or savoring French cuisine, every word you learn is a step on this exciting journey. Let's embark on this adventure together and unlock the beauty of communication across the globe.
So let's begin. How often? Learn how to use the question how often to ask about the frequency of an action. Respond correctly using frequency adverbs and time expressions. And if you don't remember adverbs, I recommend you to watch my video about adverbs. You will find it in the YouTube channel. So now guys, let's see how to formulate questions with how often. We will make the sentences in this format. How often? And we will add the auxiliary verb do or does plus the subject plus the base form of the verb. How often do you exercise? And you can answer. I usually exercise 3 times a week. Or how often does she cook? She rarely cooks. But now let's see some time expressions for you to maybe identify that you can answer correctly when someone asks you using how often. For example, once a day, twice a week, 3 times a month, every day. Remember that how often is used to ask the actions that you usually do. And you can answer once a day, twice a week, 3 times a month, or every day, right? What is something that maybe all humans have in common that they eat every day, right? So let's see some examples. How often do you study English? How often do you eat pizza? How often do you read books? How often do you go shopping? If you observe here, all of them has the same format and maybe the main purpose we can say we are asking about things that maybe people usually do daily. How often do you study English? How often do you eat pizza? How often do you read books? How often do you go shopping? But now let's see some common mistakes for you don't commit them, right? So be careful. Try to do not these mistakes. Mistake. How often time do you go to the gym? We can add time and we have here the correct. How often do you go to the gym? Is the accurate way to ask. The explanation. How often asks about frequency. So you don't know add words like time or much. That is grammatically incorrect. Then we have how often do you go to the gym? Correction. How often do you go to the gym? Explanation. The verb after do or does must always be in its base form. You won't change that. For the subject and so on, no, in its base form. So be careful in those details and try to don't commit those mistakes because that will be awkward. So let's see some common mistakes. How often you go to the gym? How often do you go to the gym? You must always use do or does to form questions in present simple tense. How often does he travel? He traveled last year. Correction. He travels twice a year. Explanation. If the question is in the present tense, the answer should also be in the present tense, unless you are intentionally explaining something specific. So be careful with those details, guys, and you will speak it like a pro. Don't try to change anything. Maybe the only thing that they will add, for example, in simple present tense is the how often. Nothing will change. Just that. So now, guys, let's see some tips to avoid mistakes. I decided to create them for you to speak like a pro. Remember the structure? How often plus the auxiliary verb do or does plus the subject plus the base form of the verb. Familiarize yourself with common answers. Use frequency adverbs, always, never, sometimes, or expressions like once a week. Practice differentiating how often from other how question, frequency how often, duration how long, and quantity how much. Be conscious with the verb tense and so on, guys. So be careful with those details and you will speak English like a pro. So now, after all that information that I gave you, but you already know the simple present, right? The only difference is that we added how often, and you can think about how often like a question, like a WH question. Just added, and the structure is the same. Just how often makes the change, right? And the answers, of course, because you will use frequency adverbs. So now let's make an activity time. Don't be afraid. And the activity says, do you watch movies? What do you think that is missing here? I don't know. Write it down below in the comments and I'll be reading those comments. How often do you exercise? Here you should answer this question in the comments. How often do you exercise? Do you eat fast food? How often do you study English? That's a good one, guys. I want to know how often do you study English? I'll be writing those comments, so write it down below in the comments. So, thank you guys. Write your comments. I'll be reading. Don't forget to give a like and hit that bell button and subscribe. Thank you. I see you in the next lesson.